All right, before we get started, we want to tell you what's new with our friends at Story Hive. Since 2013, TELUS Story Hive has funded productions and supported emerging filmmakers with mentorship and guidance from the National Screen Institute and brought hundreds of films to life from creators in Western Canada. So Story Hive's web series edition is back and better than ever, and they're looking for pitches.
I've got one.
Oh my God, tell me more.
Okay, so imagine it's like Titanic meets Wolverine. But Wolverine managed to go through a time portal, and he gets onto the Titanic, and he warns all of the people that it's going to hit an iceberg, and they're all able to get off. And even though it sinks, nobody dies, and they all go and become like superheroes like Wolverine.
Well, I mean, that sounds ambitious. Let me tell you some of the criteria they're looking for. They're looking for web series pitches from folks based in BC and Alberta, so there you go. But with stories that center connectivity, health, the environment, and the digital economy.
Okay, I'm starting to see why my pitch might not be the best one for this.
Well, and particularly you want to have the best pitch because the 40 successful pitches will receive $20,000 and customized mentorship to produce a pilot.
Applications are open until September 19th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check the eligibility requirements and apply now on storyhive.com. Do not take my Titanic Wolverine pitch, all right?
I think you're safe.
You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
So I read something recently, probably in the last few months, but I've been haunted by it on the internet.
So it's just constantly a ghost in your brain?
Yes, it is.
I'm so sorry.
And it was this. Do you actually soap your legs, or do you just let...
I heard of this. Nicole Byer
Yeah,
has had that on her
okay.
podcast.
Or do you just let the soap run down?
This has
Definitely soap my legs.
Yeah.
Since you heard this, or have you always soaped your legs? I don't know now.
Yeah, I'm a leg soaper.
You're a leg soaper.
Yeah, and I also really like to, then after I've soaped the legs, I like to scrub them with a washcloth.
Yeah, same.
Because I just
What are
really
you
enjoy
worried
an
about?
exfoliation.
I take the bus a lot, and the buses in Vancouver are disgusting.
Okay.
You know what I was, though, so this is me being disgusting. I didn't know. But, so I only wash my hair, every 5 days or whatever. But obviously, you have, little showers in between. Mm-hmm. But I am not a shower every day person. I've just never, we didn't grow up, it was water conservation, blah, blah, blah. But I was just recently, again, the internet was if you don't shower every day, you're disgusting.
I shower every day.
So many people do.
But mostly because I keep bangs, so when I wake up in the morning, they are just, come on, right?
Same.
The sweat, and there's no fixing it, right?
But if you didn't have
you got to start over.
There's no way. You have to get that all wet.
Yeah. But if you didn't wash your hair every day, do you think you have to, though?
I just I feel like I can start my day after a shower. It's a real rite of passage for the day.
All right.
I don't think it's totally gross if someone doesn't shower every single day, but for me personally, I'm pretty sweaty, so it's just necessary.
Same. I feel sweaty in the morning.
All right, so I'm the sole grosso amongst this group of four. That's cool.
On vacation, I had a couple of days where I didn't shower, but I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I am not showering.
It was
a
different element, though.
It was a defiance. It was just... I don't know what I look like. I didn't even look, because I heard recently another little tip.
Yeah.
Don't look in the mirror so much, and that's helpful.
Sure.
Especially on those days when I have decided not to shower, and I know my bangs are doing. But the only problem is if I just all of a sudden go, I should dart out and get something, and I'm like, I don't even know what I look like at all.
You're like, I'm not even sure where my boobs are.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no,
I have no idea. Is my face even? Does it shine? Probably a lot of shine.
I will say I do feel mildly uncomfortable sometimes leaving the house without my eyebrows on. They're not it's not like I have zero eyebrows. I'm not alopecia or anything. No offense to anyone alopecia, but like I have eyebrows. They're just like not as like I darken them, and so when I leave the house with no eyebrows, I feel like my face kind of just is invisible.
Same.
Yeah, I've only recently just started filling in my eyebrows, and it's been life-changing, honestly.
It's a real, like, just a statement, you know? Like, I wear thick glasses. I can't have no face. Although I did quit wearing mascara because I just thought, I don't care.
See, I have an obsession that my pores are large and I need to cover them. But then I think I've
What do
never
you cover them with?
makeup.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What did you
No,
think
I
was
didn't
going
know. I didn't know if there
Dirt?
was.
just football, eye grease. Just
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know if you were like a powder or like a deep like.
No, like one
a
of those
tacky
those
sort of-
pore things. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
But then I think I've never like been talking to someone and gone, "What large pores they have."
No.
Like
No.
I've never thought that or
You have to be
noticed
really on
it.
top of someone's face to.
You'd have to really be interested.
Yeah.
And hunting it down. But I think it all stemmed from a movie called Unzipped with Isaac Mizrahi. Has anyone ever seen this documentary about
I've
it?
never seen it. No.
It's from the 90s.
May have.
So it's just like him doing a collection. It's like a documentary, and he's with all like it's great because it's 90s supermodels.
Yes, I have seen that. Yes.
Yeah. Which is a golden time.
Oh, amazing.
And Cindy Crawford is in the shot, and the camera comes toward her, and I cannot believe Cindy Crawford said this, but she said, "Get the camera away. My pores are not that small." And I remember thinking, what are your pores supposed like? It was just a moment where I was all of a sudden thinking, what are your pores supposed to look
Well,
like?
apparently
If
faces.
Cindy Crawford doesn't
Yeah.
like her pores, mine are certainly not acceptable.
Yeah, that's a lot
I
to
don't-
contend with.
Yeah, I don't think any of us should measure ourselves against Cindy Crawford.
Well,
I mean,
It was a mistake.
I spent a lifetime unlearning that.
Probably
yeah.
the only thing I thought I shared with her was pores, though,
Yeah.
really.
That's actually one of the things
Claiming
that.
that one thing.
That
we have
one
this.
thing we have.
Well, and that's one of the things I really enjoy about I just watched the Black Lady sketch show from HBO the other day, and I noticed that what they do like with their actors is they really do a lot of close-ups on skin, and they're not attempting to pretend that all of these people have amazing
So you can see some pores?
perfect
A lot
skin.
of pores?
You can see a couple pores, and I think this is actually like
wow.
a really wonderful time in television, which is to show real people.
I don't want
on
to call
TV.
that brave, but I'm sort of feeling.
Well, Nicole Byers got her new book is going to be hashtag because she made up the hashtag
Yes.
So Fat So Brave, and she got a book deal, and it's called that.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the elements of the book is like her posing in 75 different bikinis in different like spots around LA and like different areas.
Like landmarks and stuff.
Landmarks,
I'm very excited for
I'm
this.
so excited for this. Yeah.
Well, no, I am too. But I remember that was when Amy Schumer was like, they had a picture of her in a magazine in like Us or something in a bikini, and they said, "So brave," and she's like, "Pardon?
it's quite rude.
You're the one who took the photo of me. I
a
was
lot.
just out for a swim, and now I'm brave."
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So many things.
Patriarchy, hooray.
Yay!
Yeah, right? I mean,
speaking of the patriarchy, hooray.
yeah, well,
That's a great segue into
is.
what we're going to talk about.
it is.
My name's Andrea Warner,
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
and you're listening to Pop This.
Welcome! I don't know why I
You're
never said that.
I like it. You're just so enthusiastic. Because we've been on the summer recording
We
schedule.
have, so
we
it
haven't
is-
seen each other as much.
Yeah, so
So
it
this
feels
feels-
very formal.
It does feel very formal. And today, we have two guests joining
We
us.
do. This is exciting because usually we're
Very-
in this hot box of a room all alone.
And now it's the four of us, and you've learned that I don't shower daily.
And there might not be any air at the end. So.
First, I guess we should say what we're doing.
Yes.
So we are recording a podcast today about Booksmart.
Yes.
We love this movie.
We did.
Our two
But
guests.
not as much as I think
Not
our
as much
guests.
as our two
There's
guests.
no way.
Who
Yeah.
just adorably, as soon as they saw it, basically emailed and were like, "Hey, we
Yeah.
love this. Can we come on the podcast and do it together?"
Yeah,
And we're
pretty
like,
much.
Of
That is
course
so
you
nice.
can.
Yes.
Of course you can.
Yes.
So yeah, we're very excited. So let us introduce our guests. Because I'm the sole one holding the paper,
Yeah,
I'll be
nothing.
reading for the
Yeah,
next
you will, 'cause I don't have any
3
of
minutes.
this.
I'm so sorry. So, Chloe, is a queer, disabled feminist. She co-hosts a podcast called Warriors Bards and Brews and co-parents a feisty tuxedo cat with her wonderful spouse, Sarah. Things she's passionate about include photography, though she's by no means a professional, meaningful friendships, queer media, fighting the isms, and craft beer. Sarah, the other voice joining us today, is a queer, non-binary grad student escapee who still studies pop culture and gender theory for fun. When not working as a professional beer wrangler, they co-host Warriors Bards and Brews, a Xena podcast, with their wife and homicidal house cat, and to spend time yelling about queer things on the internet.
And we should also mention it's a repeat visit.
Repeat visit.
Yeah,
Sarah has joined us before.
Mm-hmm.
They were a guest for Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, yeah.
Such a good episode.
So if you're
so
thinking,
much fun.
that voice is familiar,
Yeah.
you're not
The
going...
gay mess has returned to be more of a gay mess about this movie.
There we
We
go.
only want you to be your truest self when you come to hang out with
Which
us.
is a gay mess. And it's also post-Pride, so the fact that I'm upright right now is...
Yeah.
So we're just
Well
like,
done.
supercharged.
Well done, all of you. I will say I was also a guest on their podcast, and they
Wow.
picked a Xena episode for me that was fantastic. Super good times. As a non-Xena viewer, what a wonderful introduction.
How many seasons of Xena are there?
6.
6. And so, was that back in the day when there were like 25 episodes per
Yep,
season?
22.
22?
We're going to have you guys over to do the musical episode with us at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
fun, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
no
fun.
context.
Musical.
Have you
Just
have you
the musical.
watched like Xena before?
I've seen it. I mean, I'm not
Like I had watched like 1 or 2 episodes
Yeah.
or something. I didn't really know.
I think I told you
it.
the uncomfortable story about my
Yes,
grandfather.
your
I did.
grandfather.
Yes.
Yes,
I did.
Oh yeah, that was that. I forgot about that.
Helmer, turn the channel. Helmer, turn the channel.
I laughed
It's
so
in-
hard over that.
It's in my head forever.
Well, now
Thank
we're-
you, Helmer and Evie,
Thank you.
and Xena.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, now we're here to talk about Booksmart.
Yes.
So just a little bit of background, Lisa, please.
Sure. Booksmart is a 2019 American coming-of-age comedy film directed by Olivia Wilde in her featured directorial debut from a screenplay by Emily Halpern, Sarah Haskins, and Susanna Fogel, and Katie Silberman. It stars Beanie Feldstein and Caitlin Dever. Let's go with Dever, as 2 graduating high school girls who set out to finally break the rules and party on their last day of classes. Jessica Williams, Will Forte, Lisa Kudrow, and Jason Sudeikis also star. Will Ferrell and Adam McKay executive produced the film through Gloria Sanchez Productions. Can I just say quickly that if you start to notice how many things Will Ferrell and Adam McKay are producing and making right now, it's going to boggle you.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot. I started
significant.
watching a show called Succession on HBO.
Oh yeah.
That is theirs as well.
Yeah.
And Adam directs it.
Yeah.
And Vice. And anyway, it's been an interesting turn. You continue.
So the synopsis of Booksmart: academic overachievers Amy and Molly thought keeping their noses to the grindstone gave them a leg on their high school peers, but on the eve of graduation, the best friends suddenly realize that they may have missed out on the special moments of their teenage years. Determined to make up for lost time, the girls decide to cram 4 years of not-to-be-missed fun into one night, a chaotic adventure that no amount of Booksmarts could prepare them for. That's a very nice, tidy synopsis. Because I love how chaotic and wild and weird this movie is.
Yeah, I do too, and I think it's quite a good formula if it works. If you've got good chemistry and good characters, this one night on the town and all the crazy things that can go wrong and happen is it's so good. Yeah. Also, then we don't have to cram too much story in, and so I really love that device in terms of just showing us characters. And even though we kind of guess the beats, there's going to be a fight and all of that. I actually enjoy that, knowing that rhythm.
Well, and it wasn't a fight that I expected, actually. It was a different kind of fight. It was them, airing some grievances about, their friendship.
It's like Festivus
and,
there.
Yeah, it was a real Festivus moment. But you two have seen the movie 3 times now.
Yes.
And you loved it from the moment you watched it. So we'll start with Chloe. Chloe, what did you love so much about Booksmart?
I loved the relationship between the 2 girls. I And I identified quite strongly with the movie actually because I was also a very big goody-goody in high school. I never partied. I had one friend who also never partied, and so watching this, I really identified with this really strong core friendship where these girls were always there for each other, but maybe they were just sort of on their own and they didn't interact very much with other people, and they definitely thought they were doing okay because they got all the good grades and all that, but didn't really have any fun.
So you felt this was lifted from your diary.
Pretty much.
I mean, like super offensive to the
Are you still friends with that friend?
No, I'm not actually.
Okay.
But no, I just felt like it was a very aware movie in terms of their conversations, about sexuality and gender and all these things. It felt really timely.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah, what about you?
Well, first of all, the soundtrack was amazing.
The soundtrack is amazing.
Really, really good. Yeah.
Mind-blowingly good.
Yeah.
I just loved how they went for the comedy like right away, and they just didn't stop. And they made it was weird comedy in a way that I like it. Like when they're dancing on the road and there's no music playing, I'm like, yeah, I do that. I did that in high school. I still do it now. Oh, okay, I'm gonna like this. And it just kept going. And I did appreciate that there was no relationship, boy drama, whatever, with the fight. It was more so, we have some issues amongst ourselves. Let's hash it out.
Yeah. It wasn't like it wasn't two people fighting over like the same love interest or like, and it wouldn't have been obviously in this film, but like I think it actually does the thing that we've been talking about so much more lately, which is honoring the love story that is friendship.
Yeah.
Which is so nice.
And that's extremely important to me.
Yeah.
So that's what I was sort of trying to get at. I feel I honestly feel like, friendships can be just as important as romantic love, and this movie really highlights this and has a lot of heart, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our former guests, who has also been a multiple guest, Sam Nock, has a beautiful essay about just like friendship as should be as prioritized as romantic love, but how it isn't. And it's such a good essay. And then another former guest, Mindy Lynn Catron, who wrote the viral New York Times story about how to fall in love. She also wrote a big piece recently that went viral again, which is about like how modern marriage is socially isolating everybody, and like really we need to cultivate friendships more. Mm-hmm. And I feel like movies like Booksmart really do that, which is or help us like instruct a way to do that, which is so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I definitely still have relationships with friends that are almost as strong as depicted in the movie, maybe not with quite the same level of intensity because those girls are 17 and you have to kind of grow up and have your own life and everything, but definitely where
I don't know, have you seen Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion? You don't have to move on at all.
You do not.
You do not.
Yeah.
And in fact, there could be a 20th coming out, and I feel like there's
I feel like there would be for sure.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that if you have the kind of friendship that they created, we were actually comparing it to Rory in Paris.
Oh yeah.
As well.
I haven't seen that.
In Gilmore Girls?
Well, just Gilmore Girls.
Rory
Not
and
not
Paris.
like not the same healthiness, but that they both would choose watching a Ken Burns documentary over like going to a party and that kind of thing.
And their language of competition and wanting to excel in everything and be that champion of the world is so strong. And I think that I think also some of the notes that you were mentioning that were really fun, and like you said, it felt like now, just that when we all like to have Ruth Bader Ginsburg as inspiration, but when you see it really like vomited, all the feminist messages on the wall, you're like,
that was my room when I was 17. Like I had all this feminist. I had Bikini Kill. It was all music stuff, like Bikini Kill Games, like the women's U.S. soccer team when they won the World Cup the first time, like girl power stuff. Like I was a stereotype. It was bad. So I related to that. I'm like, I'm glad to see that the youth haven't changed.
Yeah, no, I love that. I just love that single-minded. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There's nothing else out there.
Well, and the fact that like she uses that to cultivate a sense of superiority over her peers.
Yeah.
And I love, because I always think like a part of like one of the best things that I have found for myself growing up is like a chance and the gift of being able to interrogate myself for my crappy behaviors. And not that like being a super strong-willed feminist is a crappy behavior. It's not. Being an exclusionary feminist is a crappy behavior.
Oh, yes.
And so like I love the fact that like Molly gets to really think deeply about what she has done over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And reckon with that in a meaningful way. And it doesn't always come from like the most pure place. Like
It was such that scene in the bathroom was like real M. Night Shyamalan, hey? With the like her going, I have misjudged my entire existence.
And then her absolute despondency when they're up on the hill and Amy's
but
singing the little song.
it was quite fun in terms of the structure for a film, though. It was like a twist, but it was in the first 10 minutes, which I thought was super interesting because Booksmart, when I heard the title, and I had a different, like, well, I mean, obviously it was close because they're smart, but I was not expecting something as really fresh as just this idea that everyone is doing just fine and you really aren't that special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think you can tell, and it feels to me like it's a film written by no men.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like
Definitely,
it's a really delightful. It's a really delightful thing because I think that's why we don't end up in a situation where it might be reduced to these other really like stereotypical beats of like, well, what did girls fight about?
Yeah.
I want to know. I didn't look into this, but I want to know if any of the writers were queer. Because
We were trying to figure that out. We couldn't.
There was no male gaze.
Yeah.
The scene in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Clearly, there was no male gaze in there because she barfed on her.
Yeah. No.
Not exactly sexy.
Yeah.
Even the swimming in the pool was all in underwear, which I thought was it was a beautiful
It was
scene,
really
but no
beautifully
one.
shot.
That
It was
song
not
was
meant
really
for
shot.
anyone else
But
to.
I was watching this and I was like, there's nothing creepy and predatory and male gazy about this, which I'm not sure if that's Olivia Wilde or if it's the writers, but I mentioned that to you and you were like, yeah, this was like totally fine.
I mean,
Is Olivia Wilde queer?
No.
No.
Jason Sudeikis is her partner. They have
I
kids.
thought she was bisexual.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
I thought she was bi.
Because
Oh.
that could be something. I feel like I heard that, but
okay.
maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I know her character on the OC was.
Yeah.
But that's where I sometimes
I
confuse
thought she was too. I don't know.
real life with.
I haven't heard that because I knew that she was married to like a count, an Italian count or something.
Well, but even then, I mean, it's
just saying. I just saw the things I didn't hear that, but
I haven't known any like famous women or non-binary folks she's been with. I don't know.
It may just be that I was confusing her character on the OC and the fact that every woman who's queer that I know thinks she's really hot. So that might be
well,
it.
I mean, I
even as a non-queer person, I find her hot too.
She's
So
definitely hot. Like
I would
she's
definitely
no argument. Yeah.
magnificent and smart. It's like a full meal deal there. I'm like,
Good job, Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, lucky you,
Honestly,
buddy.
Yeah.
He married up.
I mean, he
Yeah.
did marry up. He
Yeah.
really did. Yeah.
We were also what we thought was really clever too was the way they wrote the guy that Molly had the crush on. Just the language he used to
Bash.
seduce her, just being kind and asking her questions.
Yeah.
That was a woman writing that.
Yeah, I was like, this is 100% a woman writing this.
Right, because that was so. It was like you were being seen. Like, look at you! You came to my party.
It was
Oh, you're talking about Nick.
Nick, the guy at the when she.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Bash as well, because I was like, Bash also gets to her by just being eventually.
Jared.
Is his name Jared? Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought his
but just the way
I call him
when
Bash
she was
his
so.
last name was Bash. Never mind. Sorry.
He was just like, conventionally quite handsome out there in the schoolyard and like the idiot, but we thought he was kind of a rogue, but then he had every word right. Like, and it was something. It was
pulling out the Harry Potter.
Yes, exactly.
I was like, this is like
Let me
a
guess
woke
who
dude.
you are. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I thought that was also really, really smart.
And just the fact that he ends up hooking up with Ryan, who is, for all intents and purposes, like a very not conventional, like, high school cheerleader type, at all. Like Ryan is the antithesis to that.
This school
love.
didn't even really have that because they had the hot girl, which
the mean girl.
The mean girl,
yeah.
So that she wasn't acting like the cheerleader, and then poor
No.
AAA
she's
there.
The angry
She has a real name, right?
hot girl.
Angry hot girl is. You know what? I don't see a lot of angry hot girl in films as as a character.
No, it's more often the ditzy hot girl.
Ditzy hot girl,
Yeah.
but
it was
I
really
don't usually see
refreshing.
mean, like, we see mean hot girl, but like angry hot girl.
But in the 10 Things I Hate About You, I
Yeah.
kind of felt like that was her kind of part.
Well, I think she's not supposed to come off as, like, Julia Stiles in that character,
Yeah.
she's not really supposed to come off as hot. Like, even though she is, you know, she's an attractive woman.
She gets the makeover scene, and you go, "Oh,
No, I know.
she's hot.
Yeah,
She took
yeah.
her ponytail out."
Oh dear God.
Oh, wow! Who knew that was under there? Oh.
So do you think Olivia Wilde, like, brings something specific to, like, her directorial experience comes basically 20 years after she's acted for so long? Like, do you think that that's important to, like, bringing that sort of lived experience as an actor into her directorship?
I think it doesn't hurt, but I also think the people involved are really just talented on their own rights. Because Beanie Feldstein was on What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series, and she's great in that as well.
And Lady Bird.
And Lady Bird.
And
Yeah,
she was
Lady
so
Bird,
good
yeah.
in Lady Bird.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
I do love Beanie a lot.
Yeah.
So great, yeah.
yeah. No, I think that you're right. I mean, I think a movie works because everything worked.
Yeah.
The way it looked. I love too, just as a director, how she took certain moments and slowed them down, because that's how I kind of feel and think when you say, like, remember a moment.
Yeah.
And like that pool scene when she was just, and that was really hard to watch because that poor girl, she goes through such a transformation.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the most freeing and oh my God.
so
freeing and then
hopeful
soul-crushing.
And then soul crushing all at the same time. And I just thought that was a lot. And it was just really beautiful too.
Yeah. It also, like, if for a high school movie, it feels like it gives a lot of its characters, like, they might start off, like, especially the side characters, as sort of, like, caricatures,
Yeah.
but it gives them actually a lot of interior life and a lot of agency. That party is actually one of the most effective parties I think I've ever seen in film, where, like, everyone gets a little bit more depth. And that's rare, I find, for high school movies.
One thing I really liked was Gigi, because they could
Oh,
have easily
Gigi!
We were obsessed
they
with
could have
Gigi.
easily made her like the crazy chick.
Yeah.
But they actually gave her a personality, and
She was like Kramer. It's like crazy but wise.
yeah.
What did she do? What is she?
Like, I every now and then I'll look at Chloe and say, "Don't tell anybody, not even each other." And then she's just like, oh
just
my
out
God.
of the blue,
Out of the
just because
blue.
we thought it was so hilarious. I don't know.
When they're
Billy
in the closet
Lords.
asking for
Yeah,
directions.
yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff, light them up, Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fireworks.
And how your head just pops up at that bar
Yeah.
with the captain's hat on.
I'm
like,
going downstairs now.
Okay.
She's maybe, like, one of the only characters I've ever loved who has, like, purposely drugged people without their consent that I still love
Yeah.
at the end of the film.
Yeah.
I actually thought about that yesterday as
Yeah.
we were watching it again. I was like, I probably shouldn't like her.
It
but-
looked like
know,
a
but I love
really
her so much.
short-term sort of high, though, because
Yeah.
like, there was just that great Barbie scene, or whatever that's...
The dolls.
The dolls.
The dolls.
But, I mean, I don't guess we didn't get much of a time sense. It looked like about maybe an hour? Not even, I
Probably.
don't know.
I don't know how
know.
long ayahuasca lasts, because, you know...
It's supposed to have, like, a long time, isn't it?
Isn't
Then
it
you're
notorious?
vomiting.
Went
And...
on trips on, and it's
Yeah.
the devil or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm just never a fan of drugging people without their consent,
Yeah,
but
of
I
course
still
not.
love
Look at you.
I know.
Wow,
I'm walking
okay,
the
good to
high
know.
road again. Look at me with
Write
my
that down.
principles.
Yeah. That's in your bio.
I did not actually care for the doll scene.
Agreed.
I didn't like it that much either.
I
Yes.
didn't like it. I laughed a few times, but I didn't like it that much. I thought, why? Why?
Yeah, I just...
It looked like, to me, it almost looked a bit tacked on to be about how it was almost as if it was a to hit you on the head message about growing up with Barbies.
Yes.
And how we
Yeah.
felt that their shape was weird.
Yes.
It was a little too on the nose.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
But then, like, Amy is like, no, I love this body. And then Molly has to be like, no, you can't give in. And, like, I did find some of the positioning hilarious. Plus, I
Yeah.
love anytime you refer to it, like, your dolphin front smoothness. I love,
Yeah.
like, I'm always
Yeah.
gonna love that. But, like, I just,
Put my hand in your hole. What?
I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that. I did. Yeah, I did put. Yeah, no, that's fair. I did. That was good. But yeah, it felt like a weird sort of, you know how, like, every movie like this sort of needs, like, a dance sequence, and, like, we got the dance sequence in a really great way. I thought that dance sequence was fantastic.
That was
So
delightful.
good.
So good. But yeah, you need, like, the sort of, like, oh, well, we've done this in other films where the drug trip is like sort of exaggerated and animated in some capacity, and so we need to like, girls, okay,
Yeah.
Barbies.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
We know it's problematic. We know that they were not great for role models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the comedy was there, so I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it cringier every time I watched it, actually.
By the 5th time, you're just going to be like, let's skip over this scene.
Yeah,
That's the bathroom
probably.
break time next
And
time.
that's
I watch
totally
it.
perfect. That's great. You need to get to those moments.
I was absolutely just cringing too with Lisa Kudrow hugging the panda.
Oh my God, I love that.
Don't put the face on the face.
And I was just, it's so wild how your imagination just fills in everything, right? Just like,
My favorite line of hers was, "We're just gonna do some Korean face masks. Oh, I don't need to know all the words."
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If I had been out in high school, that would have probably been my mother's reaction. I don't need to know the details. Just go away.
That was another interesting thing about this movie too, and I don't watch as many teen comedies. That's more or your
My speed.
That's
Yeah.
your
That's,
no judgment.
That's my damage. I get it. It's fine.
But what I liked about this movie was that like her coming out had already happened.
Yeah.
Like it was done.
Yeah.
It wasn't a part of the story. And the two the different people at the school looked to also be very much in wherever they were.
Alan and George.
Yeah,
the other
just
guys.
fine. Everything's fine. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
We're just there now. We're not. This
Yeah.
isn't part of the storyline.
And I like how it was very the casual queerness and the casual
That's it.
jokes about the queerness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just flip it up.
Yeah.
The fair parts, just
Yeah.
flip it up.
Yeah.
I was on the floor.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the kind of jokes my friends and I used to make.
Yeah.
And we still make now, let's be real.
And I feel like it's not that there's anything wrong with having a story about, when you
coming
know
out
a
story,
coming
yeah.
out story
Yeah.
and you know that, but there was just something really refreshing about just watching a story where it's just as if I have a cat or a dog and this is me and
my life.
you're wondering if you're going to get this guy to like you and I'm wondering if I'm going to get this girl to like me, you know what I mean? It's just like we're just, and that to me was very much, that made this movie so great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as queer people, we have other stories than
Yeah.
the coming out stories, you know?
Our life doesn't center around leaving the closet. Like, we actually have some nuance to us as
What? Tell
Yeah.
me more. What do you mean?
Yeah, I know. And
Have you seen a character like Amy in many high school films?
No. A
You
lot of
know?
the time we're the jokes. A lot of the time we're the
Yeah.
comic relief. And which isn't to say that we're not funny people. I mean, as a culture, queer people are hilarious. But I mean, they had the funny gay guys, like the Queenie, gay guys, which we know those people.
Oh, we
We're friends with
absolutely know
people.
those people, yeah.
But it was so great that wasn't the joke of it. That was just their personalities.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was just
And there was just the angst that he was having was that his mom was like in there and his sister.
Yeah.
Like that's the only
That was
angst we're
the only-
having here.
Yeah, the only bad thing he was having was a bad party because no one was acting well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
At a 10, I need you at a 2.
Yeah. And and honestly, my stomach was hurting too with the Shakespeare in the parking lot.
I know.
Ellen is starring pending auditions. I don't audition.
I don't audition.
I'm offer only.
Yeah, they're so
Clearly, I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, but that's just, I
know,
just
it's-
love that. And I just love that teacher having to be, okay, this is a lot for everyone
Yeah,
here.
you're just this
there's a lot of personality in this class.
Yes.
And
There's a lot.
Mrs. Fine, Jessica Williams, gets a different spin on the high school teacher. Like
bit.
she,
I like how they threw in
She-
that he failed twice so that we weren't going to be disgusted.
well, yeah, it was
Because
it
at
was
least
gonna
we know
be-
he's 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she checked with him. He 20.
20.
He's
20, right,
He's
okay,
20.
yeah.
Yeah. But I, it's still a pause.
Yep. It's still a little.
Still
is
pause.
this abuse of power?
But you just love Jessica Williams so much. You're like, Mrs. Fine seems real cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how they trick you.
I
So
know.
The cool teacher thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
the cool teacher always tricks you, like with
Yeah.
that sort of, yeah.
We can be friends. We can talk. What's on your mind?
It
Yeah.
kind of gives me pause though, because like we had cool teachers in my high school, and some of them were not cool. They were just creepy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where for me, just knowing that there were creepy people in a position of power in my high school personally, I was just kind of like, I'm not sure about this one, but I'll let it go because like, he is 20 and it's not predatory the way it would normally be portrayed in a movie like this or any kind of Hallmark.
I think if anyone
drama.
is listening and you're a teacher or any of those positions, don't try and be cool.
Yeah.
The kids, you've got enough kid people in your life trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Act like an adult. That's all everybody needs. And if you're trying to act cool, the message is the rest of us are so lost. We assumed that we would be out of this garbage once these doors close.
Students are here to learn, not be friends with 45-year-olds.
Exactly. And if you have to put a Franz Ferdinand poster up there on the wall going, kids, this is my favorite band, people are going to be, oh no.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if she was like older than 25, like it's said in the movie she's 25, like he's 20. Like, I think the real problem, definitely for sure, is that like he is her student.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't
For
even
one
graduated.
more day.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, he hasn't even graduated yet. There's something about the actor though that I really love that I wish they had just even made him 21.
They knew if they wanted to put that storyline in, they had to flip it, because if it was the guy with the young,
it would be terrible.
We would be like, I hate this movie.
I have to say though, that guy has amazing hair.
Amazing hair. So
I could
beautiful.
not stop talking
Lisa
about
could not
it.
stop talking about it. Well, it was,
And then the fact that he took his braids out when she arrived, just
I know,
like
it
I've
was
got
so cute.
This is my thing.
He knows. He knows his
know.
weapon. But it was just, and the fact that like he made her the best cocktail she'd ever had. Like, I mean, it was, there was a lot of stuff going on, and I have to err on the side of, again, taking the high road here. I don't think sleeping with your students is cool.
No, it is.
So if she'd waited a day, or
day.
even still,
A day, fine.
even just the
honestly,
the,
get out of being his teacher.
Yeah.
Like, at least have submitted his grades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just, I think once you are done school, you are all clear and you are adults and you are fine. And I know a lot of teachers who do not, though. Like, I have a lot of friends who teach high school who will never be Facebook friends with their former students.
That's
good. Very good. That's very
boundaries.
smart. That's like, you need those boundaries.
Yes.
I used to teach, and this is not where I'm like, I slept with so many students. No. That is not me. But I used to teach for this nonprofit called, I guess we don't have to say the name anyway. But it was youth who were victims and or perpetrators of like youth violence. And so most of the kids were anywhere between like 14 and like 21. And I was like 23 when we started. And so like I ended up kind of like almost being friends with a couple of them. And there are two that I am actually Facebook friends with still to this day. But it has been a long time. Like, I'm now 40. So I stretched a lot of time out. Mm-hmm. But I still could never be like super good friends with any of these folks, because I just feel like I have like this weird teacher boundary between us that like
watching Friends when Ross is like, well, it's frowned upon. No, it's actually
it's like
a law, a rule. You can't. It's not just frowned upon.
Literally a fence, I feel, between me
and
people.
Good.
I saw my math teacher from high school at a bar when I was home for Christmas one year. I was in university, like my second degree. I was long removed from school. I literally walked in and hid my face, like, oh no, I can't be in a bar with my math teacher from 7 years ago.
And I mean,
and they were like ready to just be like, let's hang out.
She was many wines in and did not even recognize me.
Yes.
So that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
And it'd also just be extra awkward, like, hi, former teacher, you're very drunk and I'm here.
Yeah, and she was also drunk with two other teachers.
Yeah.
And I was just
Well, I had like some family friends too that I had to meet, know them, like, because my parents would introduce, this is Mr. and Mrs., Davidson or something, and then all of a sudden there's that moment where they're like, you can just call me Keith. No, I don't think I can. I think I'm sorry. I think you're just always going to be Mr. Davidson, and I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable, but that's where this is.
I'm skipping around a little bit in sort of our outline, but I wanted to read one thing. My heart leapt when I heard Molly and Amy talking about how Amy might make a move on a girl she's crushing on, and Molly addresses masturbation without any shyness, proclaiming, you just do it, what you do to yourself, and flip it, which you mentioned, Sarah. Young women in the movies rarely get to discuss masturbation, much less demonstrate it. And if they ever do, it's in hushed or shameful tones. In Booksmart, these two young women are allowed to be open, funny, and completely comfortable discussing it. And that's Yolanda Machado from The Wrap. And I am constantly trying to tell people to masturbate. And
I thought you were just all of a sudden going to say, I'm constantly masturbating.
Constantly masturbating.
And I was
Constantly masturbating.
Wow, okay.
No, I'm always like encouraging people to masturbate.
You have to encourage people?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I once worked with a woman. Maybe this is a digression, but anyway, she had been with the same man for 15 years, and she had never had an orgasm.
Oh,
she
dear
was
God.
30.
Oh dear.
Oh,
And I gave
Wow.
her some strongly worded pieces of advice. I was
Oh, I
19.
thought that sentence was going somewhere else too.
I gave her a...
Nope. Look, I appreciate that my work is physical, but not that physical.
I was just about to say, well, you're doing her a real service, and then I thought about how
Real
that
service,
sounded.
real service, yeah. No, I give her some strongly worded piece of advice. I also, we took her to a sex toy store
Oh.
and got her the stuff that she needed. And, within, a year, she had finally had her first orgasm with her husband. And they eventually went on to finally have a child. I was like, we did this. We
Wow.
did this,
It's a
ladies.
team.
Ladies of plus-size clothing store that I worked with. We did this. Yes.
I remember hearing from a woman once where she said it never occurred to her that women could have pleasure until she saw porn.
Yeah.
And even though that might have been fake,
yeah.
odds are probably was.
usually.
Yeah.
It was the first time that she saw a woman making a face that looked like in her head she was still a teenager, right? But
Yeah.
she just didn't think about it. And all of a sudden she was like, "Oh, does
Whoa.
everyone get to enjoy this?" Because
What a delight. If this movie can lead anybody into any person into understanding that everyone gets to enjoy it, great.
Yeah,
that's right. It's all
So
for
thrilled.
everyone.
So thrilled.
Also, one of the things we were thinking too about in terms of it being now is the issue that the girl that she had the crush on wasn't gay.
Yeah.
And that was interesting too, because
she was coded as
and
something.
ironically,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
gives the lecture going,
Yeah.
not everyone looks, a certain,
Yeah.
and I thought that was also super now.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that really sort of made me think about what I was talking about earlier, because she says, "Oh, it's gender presentation, it's not sexual orientation,
Yes.
it's not the same thing." And her friends, Molly's like, "Oh yeah, I know."
I'm
what
aware of
I'm
that.
just
Yeah,
saying."
yeah.
So I don't think we see that very often at all, ever, in any kind of movie, that kind of stuff being acknowledged.
No,
and
no,
so
it's
so
heavily,
good.
so-
Yeah,
So
and as we are going forward, there's just going to be a lot more people present whatever it isn't going to have anything to do with who they're attracted to.
Yeah.
It's just going to be who they want
Yeah.
to present themselves as. So that I love that was in this.
And it's accepted as fact. It's not debated. No one is like, no, this
No.
is just this is the way it is. And
Yeah.
this is the truth of this universe in the movie, and frankly, the truth of the world.
And also, and it's what's kind of sad in a way too, is that Ryan, that was her name,
Yeah.
right? Ryan was also like, "Hey, I'd like to be your friend," but they'd isolated themselves so much, right?
Yeah.
That the friend overture was being misread, right? And
Yeah.
all it was just like, "Hey, I like you. You're cool. We could be friends." And she's like, "Well, that person's into me," and I'm
Yeah.
boy, you'll be making that mistake a lot soon.
That's an oversight.
Ryan could have been into her too. She just happened to be hooking up with Nick at that moment.
Yeah.
But I didn't. But the way they presented it, it didn't feel that. It didn't feel like over. It just felt like we should hang out, like
Yeah,
friends wise.
Ryan is like a touchy-feely person.
Yes, it didn't. It didn't. But I thought it's just that's going to be.
I was gonna say she seemed to be pretty casual and pretty comfortable with intimacy of some
Yes.
kind.
Yes.
And so when they were doing karaoke and she was leaning on Amy's leg,
Yeah.
I was just like, well, our friends and I do that. Like,
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a sexual thing at all.
No.
It's
No,
like
but-
I'm comfortable leaning on you because
Yeah.
you are very nice and warm and I'm very cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these are 17-year-olds, right? Learning
Yeah.
all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? This is
I
like
feel like
a
there are a
lot.
lot of 40, 50-year-olds still learning all this.
Well, no, yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's part of their reality. But even her interpretation of being Molly and I get the other Amy. What Molly's impression for Amy is that I'm gonna come meet you and you're gonna have so much vagina. I'm like, why would this be what she wants to do? It's just
I like that
oh
Amy
yeah,
gets-
and you're just gonna get penis.
I like that
it's-
Amy gets to tell her scissoring is not a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was like, that
Don't
is-
knock it till you try it.
Well, fair.
Yeah, fair,
And I also
yeah.
just like it though that her straight best friend's whole understanding
Yeah.
of lesbian sex
Yeah.
It's
is
just
scissoring.
scissoring.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I love the don't knock till you try. It's not a thing. How about you don't knock it till you try it?
Yeah.
Still not a thing.
Yeah.
I think at that point, I looked over at you in the theater, and you were just hanging off of your chair, screeching with laughter.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really loved about sort of the whole how the movie treats sort of gayness and all that stuff, is that when Amy is talking to Ryan about going to, I think it's Botswana, for her to help the women make tampons, Ryan says, "Oh, was it Uganda or something that you're going to?" And she says, "No, I wouldn't really be safe there." And Ryan's kind of like, "Oh, why?" It never even occurs to her that there would be such severe homophobia, because that doesn't really exist in this world.
Privileged world.
Ryan's more just kind of like a hippie or something, right? Just like, whoa, that's rough, man. Like, whoa, I didn't even know that was going on. And that would have should have been the part where Amy's like, "You're kind of dumb."
I just had a thought where, because Amy says, "Would you feel safe going to Uganda?" And they would cut it, and I was just like, "Oh, is this like an open-ended, like maybe at some point this could be a thing?" I don't know, because like they don't give a. I mean, she's with Nick, so like, we know that that's not going to be a thing with Amy. But maybe that was a director's choice to kind of leave it open-ended on Ryan's sexuality, like definitively.
It's a pretty like open. The other thing I will say, like I mean, there is. I feel strongly that we have to like just acknowledge that there's a lot of whiteness to this movie. A lot of this
much.
We were rather horrified by the Malala reference.
Calling Malala and Malala being your code word to something as stupid as like you have to agree to do this one thing without any objection. That didn't sit that well at all.
I get where they were going with it. But
I got it, but I just... Again, it's that very peak white feminist sort of like, we will just take everything.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, I know it was supposed to be that they had this reverence for her and she trumps everything, but it's just a little squicky.
It just felt very, very throwaway and not very important.
They could have used a different name, like if any.
Sure could.
Pick a random white feminist.
Literally anybody.
Like Gloria Steinem would have been fine there, and then they could have talked about Malala in a completely different way, and it just felt a little too white feminist.
White lady.
Yeah. I didn't care for that so much, but I really did. I very much enjoyed how they end up getting Amy out of jail.
So
that
great.
They are able to trade information to get the charges against her dropped.
Yeah.
That was effective, and
that was a good callback.
It was a great callback. Like, it's. Particularly since they did actually like leap from just generally wanting to try and find a party to trying to hijack a pizza driver. Like that is a relatively aggressive uptake in criminal activity.
That escalated quickly.
For an evening,
They were in coveralls. It had sort of a prison sort of feel. But she's wearing this accoutrement.
Yeah. What is this accoutrement? But I thought that was wonderful. That was a good callback, and that made me really happy.
Yeah, there was a lot. There's those kinds of movies, I think, always do well with having a surreal touch. Like we were discussing Superbad, which is a movie I really, really love and laugh at all the time too. But just that scene, I think I can't hear These Eyes without thinking about Michael Cera having to sing it at that weird party. Have you seen Superbad? Yeah.
I don't remember Superbad very well.
I remember very well.
He gets forced. He's like in this weird, like some kind of gangster party or something, and he wants to leave, and they're like, "Well, you need to sing for us." And he starts singing the Guess Who's These Eyes. And it's like, I know this, to me it was fun because it's Canadian.
Yeah.
And so this is a Canadian story. But those little touches of the surreal in these kinds of movies really help because it's fun. It's fun. Crazy.
Yeah.
And if it was just to be about people trying to get a lift, it'd be really boring.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I love all the parties that they get to go to, and they're very distinct from each other, but still everyone ends up at Nick's.
As long as you can find it.
As long as you can find it.
Which is a really beautiful sort of mid-century house that his aunt has. Hey, I was
quite wonderful.
Really
And
impressed.
that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it didn't end up with, this is just me, but I'm always uncomfortable when the parties end up smashing things.
Yeah, no, they had a lot of respect for that home.
Come on.
It was a very polite party.
Yeah, come on, have a party. You don't need to ruin everything.
So, we have been talking for almost an hour, and we have to wrap it up. But we always ask at the end of every episode, did this pop?
Oh, heck yes.
Yes, I think you know the answer.
Yeah, resounding pops. I love it so much.
Yeah, no, I pop. And I hope it does, as these kinds of stories. I know that one thing we didn't touch on was that there was this struggle of trying to get it to do well at the box office.
Yeah, and that it didn't do as well.
And it didn't do as well, which I don't even know what the measurement is. I mean, I think when people say, oh, everyone's just going to see superhero movies, that's kind of how I see going to a big theater to see like big things. I've seen smaller movies, but it is really fun to see a giant, Thanos and stuff, right? But so I do feel like we have so much access now to great TV.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have felt bad if this came out on HBO or Amazon or Netflix or something.
No, and I think it will live on the streaming service really well. We also like to leave on something we recommend, though. So, as our guest, Sarah, do you want to go first?
Yeah, oddly fitting. I'm going to do What We Do in the Shadows, a TV show, because Beanie's also in that. She plays a young, new vampire, and her learning how to be a vampire towards the end of the season is hilarious. It's based on the movie.
Love that
Taika
movie.
Waititi.
Yeah.
So this one is not set in New Zealand. It's set in Staten Island.
Cool.
Which is where you imagine vampires living.
Yeah, and it's
100%.
just these 3 vampires living in a house.
And it's Matt Berry, too, isn't it? From Toast of London?
Yes, I think it is.
Okay.
I'm not really familiar, but I think that's the guy's name. But it's only like 10 episodes long. We watched it with my parents when we were visiting them. It was fantastic. Highly recommended if you liked the movie. And there's really amazing cameos that I was not prepared for that blew my mind.
Can't wait. Chloe, how about you?
Mine has to be Gentleman Jack, just because I haven't stopped talking about it for like months and months.
Yeah, I haven't watched that either. Excited.
Yeah, it's really good, and all the acting is particularly very good. Saran Jones is incredible. After I watched Gentleman Jack, I watched everything else of hers that I could possibly.
Bailey, Dr.
Yeah.
Foster.
Yeah, she's
class.
really, really good. And I had no idea who Ann Lister was prior to the TV show, so it actually made me learn a little bit of lesbian history, which is amazing. So I don't know, it's good. Watch it.
Fantastic. Lisa!
And speaking of going to the theater to see small films, The Farewell.
Yeah.
Loved it so much. And
Can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
We get to talk about it.
Oh, we're definitely going to talk about it for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Can't wait. And I am going to recommend, it's been re-released into theater this summer, but the Muppet movie, it's 40th anniversary this year. But the Muppet movie, it's Rainbow
that's a Muppet
Connection.
TV show.
Yeah, it's a Muppet TV
Rainbow
show.
Connection.
Rainbow Connection's really where it's at with that Muppet movie. It's, oh man, I'll just cry immediately. So
I've got my banjo just right out here.
Please, I wish. Go watch the Muppet movie. It's so good. And just have yourself a lovely time. It's so great. Thank you so much, Sarah and Chloe,
you very
for coming
much.
and having us on.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're the best. I feel like I'm so smart. And you're going to take over the world.
Can you even believe?
Can you even believe it?
They are so
go
good.
away because you're so good.
Yeah,
Just leave
so
now,
good.
but come back, but then go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Yes.
You can hang out with us on our various social medias. You could rate and review us 5 stars on iTunes. 5 stars.
We always say that very orgasmically.
Well, that one you did. The other one, usually it's just 5 stars and a whisper. But we've been talking about masturbation a lot this year. So this episode.
We recorded at the Vancouver Public Library. Andrea Jin is our producer. And thank you all so much for being here and listening.
Thank you.